Yay, we are live, people. So
Hello.
we have two Angelas here today. So I'm going to be Ange for the day. Angela, you're going to be Angela, and Michael, you can just be Michael.
Okay.
We are. We'll rename you when we have your other
Yeah,
friend,
great. Michael could be Andy.
Oh man, this could get weird.
So this is officially our first Mind Monday. So we decided to invite Angela Grace. She's Dr. Angela Grace, actually. Sorry, I know her personally from dance too. So she has her PhD in psychology, and she's one smart lady. So we thought we'd bring her on to help give some guidance on what people can be doing during the pandemic and helping them to stay mentally healthy. So very excited to have you here today, Angela.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. So let's just do a quick weigh-in on, like, you have lots of clients that you're dealing with and whatnot. What are you seeing? Like, we're now into—
Oh no, you froze.
I froze?
I still hear you.
Okay. So
you guys
and I
keep
are still
freezing
live.
here.
You totally are freezing, but that's okay. We may have to just take you off of video and just keep you on audio. Worst case scenario. So not a big deal. So what I wanted—
Hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
So kind of want a weigh in, like we're now heading into—
You can hear me?
Yep.
You're cutting out. I don't know what's happening here.
Okay. Angela, can you cut your video feed and just do audio?
I'm not sure what's happening. You guys keep cutting out on me.
Okay. I'm going to kick her out of video.
Yeah, boot her video. See if that helps.
Yeah, let me just move a little closer to my router and see if that makes any difference. I'm literally sitting beside it. Is this better? Okay.
Okay, let's try it.
Stop the cam here.
Perfect. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Are we better?
Can you hear? I feel like there's a— Okay, so Angela, what we wanted to talk about is what is happening in—
Yes, I can hear you. We're good.
Oh boy.
Wow. I think we have a huge delay happening. So I'm going to start my question again. And Angela, I just want to see what the delay is. So if you can actually just pause until—
We have a huge delay happening.
Oh boy.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to get you to log out and I'm going to get you to log back in and see if that helps. So I'm going to kick her out.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to log back in. Okay.
So let's keep our ready for her. What is happening today? If my audio— oh my gosh, it's been so frustrating.
It's one of those days.
Yeah, the rest of my day has been really frustrating too. So this is just like one more thing to tab onto it.
Mercury's in retrograde or one of those crazy things.
I don't know. Need to ask my friends who track that stuff.
Yeah.
So, how was your weekend?
I had a good weekend. Just family time mainly going on. I was watching this movie over the weekend. Okay, we had nothing to do, right? So I've been watching a lot of family movies, going back and watching some of the classics and introducing my kids to some of these classics. So we're watching Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And there was a line in that movie that was like, holy cow, for everything that's going on right now. It's the scene where this scene doesn't matter what, but there's a scene where because they're going to go take this ring and they're going to destroy the ring. One of the characters, he says, is it not? And I was like, holy cow, that sounds exactly like what life is like right now, except instead of a stupid little ring, we're thinking about this even smaller little virus.
Guess what happened?
Floating around.
That very important thing that we just missed. You completely froze.
Okay. So there's this line from Lord of the Rings where they talk about trying to destroy the ring. It says, is it not such a strange fate that we should suffer so much fear and doubt for so small a thing? And it just hit me. I was like, holy cow, how is that not exactly true to today too? where instead of a stupid little ring, it's like this teeny tiny little virus that we're all understandably worried and concerned about.
Mhm.
But the whole world is just over so much fear and doubt over so small a thing. I was like, man, oh man, what a great, unbelievable, just smacked me up beside the head.
Yeah.
You know, there's a follow-up line in a different scene that I think answers the question. It says, I wish when they talk about, I wish I had not been here for such a time, the response was, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that has been given to us.
Are you reading this or do you have this memorized?
A little bit of both.
Okay. Wow, that was a lot of words to like spit out verbatim. So
I've read the book a few times. It's been a few years. And then when I watched the movie and they had those lines, I was like, holy cow. It's exactly where we're at right now. I mean, that's exactly what these live streams are about is, okay, so the world is going seemingly sideways. What are we going to choose to do with our time?
I want some time on my hands. I was looking at this week, and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be another 80-hour week. This is ridiculous. How come everyone else gets a break and I have to keep working? Not that I'm complaining, but seriously, I could use a vacation right now. So,
Hey, it looks like we got Angela back.
yes. Angela, can you hear us? And it seems like we can't. We'll let her chime in when she comes back in. So I spent my weekend at a business course with a bunch of people who are in the dental industry. Some of them were dentists, some of them were like consultants and whatnot. And it was good, but it was also like when you have that time to like sit and just like think about your business for that much time, then it starts to kind of unravel a bunch of stuff. And I was like totally jazzed during the whole thing. And then this morning I was like, I don't want to get up and face the world today and deal with what I need to deal with.
What happened? What was what flipped in your mind to think about it, to go from I'm jazzed to like, oh, do I even have to get out of bed?
Just all the stuff. Like I felt like I had everything organized by the time the thing was done. Like it was a 3-day event. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday afternoon, I started to do some of the work that I needed to do. And then Sunday evening, I was like, I'm just going to leave this. And then all night, my brain was like twirling about it. And then this morning when I woke up, I was just like, okay, I thought I had simplified everything that I needed to do based on this thing. And now I feel like everything is way more complex than it needs to be. So I feel like I'm back to the drawing board again with all this. Plus there was stuff that kind of fell through the cracks with some of my team members. So trying to get them back on track while trying to get my work done and everything else. So it's just, I have way too many projects on the go right now, which need to get done. It's not like not making work projects by any means, but man, it's like big things.
Sounds like triage time.
Triage time? Who needs to live and who needs to die?
Which project needs to live and which project needs to hold on as long as possible?
Yeah, well, they all need to live right now. That's the problem. So, but that's okay. We'll get it figured out. By the end of this week, I promise to report on Friday that
I'm back.
You are back.
We got her.
So how much delay do we have?
Right.
Say hi. Hi back to me.
Hi.
Ooh, we still have a delay.
Are we good?
About 3 seconds delay.
Yeah, we have a delay.
Okay.
But that's okay. So
I'm not sure why. I'm literally sitting right beside my router.
Yeah, it is what it is. Everything's going weird today, so we're just going to roll with it. But just make sure, like, give us a little bit of space after you answer for us to, like, ask you another question. Otherwise, it's going to be cutting in and out really annoyingly today.
Sounds good.
Okay. So the original thing I wanted to talk about like 10 minutes ago was, okay, we're now like into week 4 of this. And we're starting to have people kind of settle down. This is the way life is right now. This isn't like it's coming, it's here. What are you seeing in the change in the mood and wave of people in how they're dealing with this on a mental basis?
So initially there was like a lot of panic, right? People stocking up on supplies, people not sure what was happening. There was some initial excitement with kids on, oh my gosh, I get to be home. This is really cool. And then like there was this anxiety around what exactly do we do? I noticed with some of my friends and some of my clients is all of a sudden we're going to buy flour and yeast and we're going to bake some bread and cinnamon buns. There was a lot of cinnamon buns happening, and now I think things have settled down into the of wow, this is how we're living right now. We need to slow down and really take stock of what's important. So I noticed in myself, I was really missing, like I just dug right into work and I was missing the creative side. And so now I think there's an opportunity to really find balance for what is important for you. Yeah, and it's like I don't know if you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but we're back down at the very base level of food, shelter, survival, safety, and then moving into the next level of importance and belonging. Like we really have to let go of the productivity right now and simply be where we need to be. I think the most important thing we can do right now is keep our own nervous systems calm and not get into panic mode. Just be still and do what needs to be done on a day-to-day basis. I think that's where things are settling down right now. I had to go get some groceries yesterday, and the grocery store was a very somber place. It's like people don't know how to make eye contact anymore, and people are insecure of what they should be buying, what they should be doing. And we really need to let that go and just do what needs to be done to be okay. That's the basics right now.
So if someone, I'm going to use myself as an example because I'm like monster productivity lady. And like, honestly, since this happened, I've been working more hours than I normally would work because we're trying to get some online courses out there, some live webinars and all this stuff. And so like telling someone like me to stay still and just do like the basic stuff, it's not even, I don't even feel like it's a possibility right now. So how do you get people who are the monster producers slowing down?
Yeah. Well, we have to think of it in terms of momentum. So, you know, the basic law, an object in momentum stays in motion until acted upon by an outside force. Well, if you've been a productive person, going, and then all of a sudden, boom, we have to stop. It's like we have to reground and regroup and then get the momentum going in the direction it needs to go. I'm a super productive person too, and it really stopped me in my tracks to all of a sudden be doing all my work online, staring at a little tiny camera, trying to stay still because I'm a mover and I'd be moving all over the place. So it's regrounding and regrouping into a different momentum. And it's interesting. I'm finding some of the projects that I thought were so incredibly important before, just all of a sudden have lost their spark and I can't do it. So I need to find a different way of doing it. So I think that's the big thing is we've been halted and now we have to figure out what's important, where we want our momentum and our energy to go now.
Some people haven't been halted though. Like I have to admit, I've not been halted. I've been like accelerated down the hill. So what do you do with that?
Well, we have to remember too that so even though our computer technology are 24/7, we as human beings are not. I wish I had an infographic for you for this too, but I'll just do like little boxes across the screen. So there's 4 main areas it's called the cycle of satisfaction. So think of it like
Uh-oh.
She's pulling a Micheal.
Is this what it's like to talk with me? I'm in the middle of saying something.
Yep, totally.
Oh boy.
Yep. Okay, well, let's carry on with our conversation while we wait for her to unfreeze. So with your projects, Micheal, are you at a halt right now, or are you continuously moving things forward?
No, I'm continuously moving things forward. I'm like you. I've got ants in my pants. If I sit still for too long, I would go crazy. So I'm always making it. Actually, that's the thing I'm finding really interesting is I've got nothing to do, but no time to do it. Between like I got a couple different with office being shut down and the proper process of making sure everybody is taken care of, keeping up to date with the emergencies of the clinic, checking in with my team, to just make sure everybody's communicated with properly. Some of the other projects that I'm working on for course development that you and your team and I are working on together too. It's like, okay, I got all this stuff, but then I'm constantly getting distracted by having 3 extra kids around the house all the time that are needing attention. And then it's just like, oh, so it's interesting. It's challenging trying to balance a lot of different things. I'm finding difficult because I'm not one person who wants to just sit still either. I'm kind of like you. I'm like, let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I think for me, there's a bit of fear. Like if I actually halt, then I'm not going to get right. So that complete stop is, I feel like, is not an option in my life. It's something, if I do that, I'm going to be in trouble.
What about something in the middle?
Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
We can.
Okay. Did you hear anything I said in the last few minutes?
You started drawing boxes and then you went away and you froze, which is usually Michael's trick. So.
And then I disappeared?
Yeah. And then you disappeared. You froze with your mouth like, ah.
Should we try that again?
Yeah.
Because I think I have an answer for you, Angela. Or Angie. Okay. So boxes. So up here, and like literally up here, we have, so this is called the cycle of satisfaction, and it happens for everything that we do. So first we have to have an idea. I have to do a thing, right? So, but we can't do the thing until we're clear on what we need to do, right? So I have a project to do, I'm going to do it. And then we move into action of our physical bodies actually doing the action, actually doing the thing. What happens when we're super productive people is we go from idea, action, idea, action, idea, action, and we get stuck in that productive loop, and the adrenaline keeps us going. But we forget that there is an equal and opposite part, just like the sun and the moon, the day and the night. We need to have an equal and opposite side of rest. So once we have the idea, we do the action, then we move into satisfaction, where we're like, yeah, I did a good job with that. And then we can relax so that then we can move on to the next idea. But we can keep our nervous systems really ramped up by constant doing, like the hamster wheel of constant doing. Mm-hmm. So we literally need to take that pause, feel satisfied with what we've done, and relax, because it's only in that relaxation stage that we get our next idea of what to do next. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to think of our own circadian rhythms. And we humans are not technology and robots. We have to stop and recharge.
That's one of the biggest things I'm having problems with too, is because like now that I can't like we're not really leaving the houses and having that ability to reset, it's like my work is constantly, it's like, hey, Ange, waiting for you whenever you're ready to come back, which is like all the time. So like,
well,
I know
that's the thing.
Kids and whatnot, that's one thing, but I'm like in lockdown with my computer, feeling under the gun to constantly produce.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, is we do have to pay attention to, we have to rest. And the same thing, I found myself not wanting to rest, being like, this adrenaline is addictive and I just want to keep going. And then you add some fear and anxiety. Is my work going to continue? Is my business going to continue? Then we get into that over busy mode. And the truth is, we are in a state of, we don't know what's happening next. And literally all we have is this moment and today. So how can I balance both sides of my nervous system and give my brain a break so that no matter what happens next, I can still be resilient and be okay? One thing that is actually helpful, I don't have it near me, but I have a little timer where I will literally set it for 20, 30 minutes and you have to rest for this amount of time. Sometimes we just have to shut off the computer, shut off the technology, and literally force ourselves to be in a state of rest. And the first few times you do it is not easy. It is not easy to let go of adrenaline. It is not easy to let go of a very busy mind. But we need to. Otherwise, we're not going to last. Like we're not going to make it for however long this is. We have to pace ourselves. You know, I work from home too. My office is in my home. I'm used to clients coming to my home. I have to laugh. Even my dog is confused. I have a therapy dog, and she heard me in my office talking with someone, and she came into the office and put her paw on the chair, like, where's the people? I hear voices, but where's the people? So we literally have to shut ourselves off. I can't say the author, I can't remember his name, but he did, I think if you looked up the TEDx talk about deep work, this is from him. And he talks about how with constant technology and constant notifications and constant pop-ups, we're actually creating our own ADHD in our brains. Like if you think about our computers and the little pop-up over on this corner, we're constantly on the go and like keeping our brains right up and our eyes right up at the front instead of doing deep work. So we need to shut off notifications, set a certain amount of time and get something done, and then take a rest after it. We are not expected to be on call 24/7. You know, part of me wonders on a more spiritual planetary level, if literally this is the universe telling us, and you're going to stop the productivity now. It's actually not good for us.
It hasn't caught me yet.
Maybe that's why all your tech hasn't worked this morning, Angela.
Well, you're the energizer.
The universe does not know I exist. So it's gone and stop me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
But also our bodies talk to us. Like, you know, if I get tired and worn down, then I just don't want to be around people as much. So we have to be aware that eventually our adrenal glands are going to catch up and our nervous system is going to catch up. And if we don't look after our wellness, we are going to be forced. So that was a huge reminder for me a few years ago. I was super productive in my PhD program and graduate school and internship and dissertation, like all of the stuff. And I was just go, 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 go. And then my body shut down and created autoimmune issues. And so it was a huge hit over the head lesson for me that all this is not actually good for my well-being. So it shifted me from working in one area to working, you know, helping professionals with burnout, recognizing that not all depression is depression. Depression can actually be a sign that the body needs rest. I look at depression now as, if we break apart the word, it's depressed. So we need deep rest in order to recover from it. So that's what busy professionals have to be aware of is, yeah, we can be super productive and on top of things, but if you're truly not looking after your body and what your human body needs, we get into trouble.
Are you finding some people are starting to, like, I know you talked about in the grocery store, people are avoiding each other and whatnot. Are you finding some people are now starting to feel like they're withdrawing from society as well and just wanting to like be alone, even though we probably are craving the social stimulation that we normally would have? But are you starting to find that people are starting to like be like, I want nothing to do with anyone right now?
Oh yeah. And I would put myself in that camp. Actually, there's some days where I'm like, I'm actually glad I don't have to talk to people. I'm glad I can, you know, shut my technology off and not have to not have to worry about other people right now. So for introverts, this, the initial part was, this is great. We have an excuse not to go out and socialize. But now all the introverts are charged up with nowhere to go. So I think the other thing actually happened too, where I noticed there were a whole ton of social invitations for online meetings and online connections. And it almost became this obligation of doing as much as we could to stay connected. So now we just have to come back into balance. In terms of Facebook, I'm sorry, if I wasn't friends with you on Facebook before, I sure am not going to do it now. Just because your desire to be connected. Mm-hmm. So we just have to monitor what's happening within ourselves and be like, yeah, I need to connect and have our circles that we connect with, and I need to recharge the way I need to recharge. So I think some people are finding it like it can go either direction. Some people are craving more connection, and some people are craving more like a hermit type existence where you just slow down. So it really is, to thine own self be true. What do you need most for yourself? And how can you look after your family?
Yeah. Is that hermit type existence the start of people's like heading into depression? Like that's one thing I worry about when I start seeing myself feeling that way. Or I don't know. I'm like, is it technology overload? Am I just like done with people right now? Or
yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's an interesting theory. It's actually from Dabrowski in 1967, and I love this. He calls it the theory of positive disintegration. And the theory is that whenever something, a crisis happens in life, and even like midlife crisis, so when we go through like the second half of life and personal changes, we have an option. It's like all of our belief systems and everything disintegrate, and we have a choice. We can go in a more positive direction and say, I'm going to make meaning of this. I'm going to get to know myself better. I'm going to discover what's important. I'm going to be more creative. Or we can have negative disintegration, where we do go down into more of a depression, anxiety, dark night of the soul. But all of those things can be used to help us make meaning and get to know ourselves and our world better. So we have a choice. And people can disintegrate into depression, severe mental health issues, physical health issues, addictions. Or we can say, all right, it's time to suck it up, princess, and use this for greater growth. So, Ange, how are you going to suck it up, princess?
Gotta get my projects done. Then I can talk about this stuff. I know that's so not the right answer, but that's like my answer to everything is like projects. I have a project, I can get through this.
What are you going to give yourself as a little solace in the middle of your project so you can still continue your work and rest, recover cycle?
Kickboxing.
So that you don't burn yourself
right.
out.
Yes.
Ange is on the hot seat.
She is. Now we're going to put Micheal on the hot seat.
My problem is like all the work that I do is like, I find it fun. Like some people are like, oh, work is work and all this stuff. Like dance is fun. Having to write, like writing is fun. Building programs is fun. Like all this stuff is like super fun for me to do. So it doesn't really feel like work, even though I know it's work and I know I need to like disconnect. It just, my brain is just like, well, this isn't a bad thing. This is like I'm super stimulated by this. I feel awesome when I do it. So yeah. And it's not like I can go out and have coffee with one of my friends right now. And having like, I'm on Zoom all the time with people. So for me to like have fun time on Zoom, see, that feels like work. But when I'm having meetings and stuff, that feels like fun. So it's, my brain might be wired funny.
You make a really good point about having fun. And I think that's a really good marker for any of us, is when we stop having fun and stop enjoying it and start getting bitter. Maybe that's the sign that it's time to slow down. But if it's still fun and you're checking in with yourself, then like that's okay. We all work at different levels of energy. I know for me, like I remember this children's story that I used to be a grade 1 teacher. So there was this story about the Krabby Appletons. So whenever I start to feel like a Krabby Appleton, then I'm like, okay, I need to recharge.
Mm-hmm. Michael, I feel like you need to weigh in on something here. And he's frozen. He's doing his usual Michael
He's
thing.
frozen.
He's totally frozen. It is. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with the technology today. Like, this is so weird. But anyway,
it's just a thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also really interesting right now seeing kids like, and I can only speak to, you know, my 2 stepkids adapting to online schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Is they are craving routine. Like the more we can keep the routine similar or help them be resilient and adapt to new routines, the better it's going to be. One kid was up late last night. Like he came and found me at 10:30 and said, I just can't sleep. I'm so worried about online school and the new routine. And this is normal now and I don't like it. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, we got to be resilient and help each other through this. Mm-hmm. So it's funny what we've decided to do is send each other the funniest videos we possibly can on YouTube. So he sent me one today about new toilet paper using a Dremel and a toilet brush. So we've just got to find the humor, right? Mm-hmm. Like look after things and find the humor, because that's how we're gonna survive this.
True. Michael.
Oh, Michael's back.
I'm back.
I asked if there was anything you wanted to weigh in on.
And then I disappeared.
You probably had already been frozen for like 2 minutes. Then.
Michael, I like
listening attentively.
Michael, I liked your question about finding the solace in work. Can you add on to that?
I'm sorry, can you ask your question again?
I liked what you said about how are you going to find the solace in amongst the projects. Can you talk more about that?
For everybody, it's different. Like you talked a lot about the importance. You said something I found brilliant. I actually wrote it down. You said, if we don't look after our wellness, we'll be forced to look after our illness. And it's that thought of becoming incredibly mindful about what do I need to properly care for myself, not take care of myself in a narcissistic kind of way, but in a genuine place of care of self, because it's when I'm at my best, I'm able to help other people as well be their best. And so it's that appropriate level of personal attention that allows each of us to function in a place of wellness. And whatever that point of rest is, it doesn't have to be huge even, but it's individual things. So like for me, it can be simple as going outside for a walk and spending time in nature. That's a big, big thing for me. And I've known that for a long, long time. So like this afternoon, I'm planning to go out for a walk at around 3:30. My kids, that's when they're allowed to start watching TV again. So they're going to get the TV. I'm going to get out of the house. And so for me, that's some of the little rest points that I built in through my day. So my question to Angela was, what's something specific and tangible that you can do? Sorry, Ange, not Angela, Ange, to make sure you're giving yourself that rest point. And I also know that unless it becomes meaningful and specific, the likelihood of it happening is very low. Mm-hmm. And as a friend, I don't want to see you burn out.
Appreciate that. Thank you. You're much nicer than me. I'm like, Michael's going to get the coronavirus. Well, see, like for me, rest isn't like sitting still. For me, like doing the kickboxing video and whatnot and turning myself into a ninja, like that makes me really excited, right? And well, I do actually lay still because I go into my sauna and stuff. But those are like at the end of the day, that's kind of my like chocolate for putting in a good day's work is getting to be a ninja and then also getting to sweat.
Yep. I call those moments of solace, I call them little pockets of peace. Mm-hmm. And where are the little pockets that we can just drop into and recharge, whatever that is? Mm-hmm. I've started doing elixirs. Like I'm really into health food. So I started doing elixirs with Chinese herbs and raw cacao butter and all those kinds of yummy things. So it's really nice at night to just drop in, read a book for a little bit, have an elixir or watch something on TV that's enjoyable. I also make pottery. So I have dug into some creative things. But yeah, we need those little pockets of peace. Walking is another really important one. Hanging out with my dog is another one. Like yesterday I was feeling off and I said to my husband, you know what? I need to go for a walk just by myself for an hour. Not take the dog because she's slow. Walking my dog is not fitness. Walking my dog is wandering and sniffing everything. So yeah, we all need those little pockets of peace. And I think with families too right now is we need pockets of peace alone. So where the kids go to their rooms or go play a game or something, we've got our own little space. Like we need that recharge for sure. And you're right. Like both of you are right. It's different for each person. Some days I want to get out the heavy bag and do some boxing. Other days I want to do yoga. Pockets of peace don't always have to be sitting still. Like sometimes you have to unleash the furies and just let it fly. And then that can bring you a sense. I think of animals, I think animals are going to have pretty easy time through this because they just look after themselves, look after their nervous systems, don't really care about other species, whatever. It's just do what you got to do. And I feel like we need to get down to that base level again. I wish I'd memorized this poem, but there's a beautiful poem by Mary Oliver. And it talks about you don't have to walk 1,000 miles repenting. All you need to do is let your soft animal body love what it loves. And I think that's what each of us need to do is just recognize what makes you tick, what gives you rest, what gives you joy, what gives you energy and a sense of meaning, and do that thing.
So if we were to give our audience like one thing to focus on this week as a tool to make it through week number 4 of pandemic, what would you suggest?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Angela.
Okay. So what I was asking is if you were to make a suggestion for what people should be doing to help themselves move through this week, what would be one suggestion you would give the audience to like focus on for the week to give themselves a new tool to help them to cope?
Yeah, I would really suggest scheduling your day, like saying, where is my work point? Where is my rest point? And I would actually take a pen and paper schedule, because pen and paper is like your thoughts flowing through your blood, throwing through your muscles and getting out on paper rather than just using technology. I would suggest doing some journaling and ask yourself, what is important to me? What is going to give me balance?
Okay, that's a good tool. Michael, did you want to add in anything, or are you frozen again? No, you're actually.
No, I'm actually here. I'm listening. But with the delays for Angela, I want to make sure I'm not creating more complexity of understanding what's being said.
That's why you've been so quiet. Like, the Angelas are carrying on the conversation. Michael's just sitting there in between, like a rose between two thorns. Rose today.
I get to meet the rose today. Yay.
I'm just to be in the middle.
I'm okay with that.
I think I'm just following Angela's advice of being in the moment right now.
Versus Anne, who's like plotting her next project. Well, I suggest we wrap it up here, but I think, if we can walk away with that tool of like figuring out what we need to program in our day, I think that will cause a lot of increased calmness. And
I love all the smiling and nodding that's happening. Like, you don't know what's going on.
And even if we don't get an actual hands-on thing that we can figure out what we want to do, just to spend some time journaling and writing and thinking about it, even if we don't come to a final answer of, okay, I need to do this, to simply be in the question of it will always yield a lot of results.
That's true. Awesome. Well, Angela, thank you for taking the time today. Are we showing off? There's the puppy.
Showing off my puppy.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up for today. So tomorrow's theme is Tired Tuesday. So we'll be talking about sleep cycles and all that stuff. So if you're not sleeping the way you should be, we have some major tips for you because Michael is an expert in sleep. And perfect to pick his brain and put him in the hot seat about. Get a good night's sleep tonight, Michael.
I will do my best.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Angela, again, thank you for taking
Thank you, Angela.
your busy day to hang out with
You're
us.
so welcome. Thank you.